The auditorium was buzzing with excitement on graduation day. Students in their gowns hugged their families, the air filled with laughter and hope. But all eyes turned when a sleek black limousine pulled up outside the gates. The door opened, and out stepped a tall, confident young man in a perfectly tailored suit. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Isn't that Marcus? The quiet kid? The one everyone used to bully?" But the real shock came when the dean announced, "Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the man who now owns this very university. Mr. Marcus Carter." And in the crowd, one face went pale: Amanda West, the girl who had made his life miserable for 4 long years. Chapter 1: The First Day. Freshman Year. Marcus Carter walked into Oakwood University carrying a worn-out backpack and wearing the same pair of sneakers he had worn since high school. His scholarship covered tuition, but every other expense was a battle. Raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs, Marcus knew the value of every dollar. But in the polished, privileged halls of Oakwood, he stood out. And Amanda West made sure he knew it. She was the queen bee: wealthy, popular, and ruthless to anyone who didn't fit her idea of worthy. On his first week, Marcus sat quietly at the back of the lecture hall. Amanda and her friends giggled loud enough for him to hear. "Do you think his clothes are from a thrift store?" one whispered. Amanda smirked. "Thrift store? More like the dumpster." Marcus clenched his jaw but said nothing. He had learned a long time ago that silence was sometimes the best shield. But inside, the sting was real. Chapter 2: Relentless Bullying. Amanda's cruelty didn't stop at words. One afternoon, Marcus opened his locker to find his textbooks missing, replaced with torn paper scribbled with racial slurs. Another time, during a group project, Amanda refused to work with him, telling the professor loudly, "I don't want my grade ruined." It wasn't just Amanda. Her influence was so strong that other students joined in. They mocked his clothes, his old laptop, even the way he spoke. But Marcus refused to crumble. He focused on his studies, working late nights at a local diner to afford food and rent. His mother's voice echoed in his mind, "Marcus, they can take away your comfort, but never your determination." Chapter 3: The Breaking Point. One rainy evening, after another day of humiliation, Marcus was mopping floors at the diner. He caught his reflection in the window, tired, drained, and questioning if this fight was worth it. That's when Mr. Henry, an elderly customer who had been coming to the diner for years, struck up a conversation. "You've got eyes that see more than most, son," Henry said. "Don't let small-minded people keep you from big dreams." It was a turning point. Marcus decided he wouldn't just survive college, he would rise above it. And one day, he would be in a position where Amanda's opinion would mean nothing. Chapter 4: The Plan. From then on, Marcus became obsessed with 2 things, learning and building. He studied not just for grades, but for mastery. He devoured books on business, leadership, and finance. Every break between classes was spent in the library or working extra shifts to save money. He also started a small online business, fixing and reselling used electronics. At first, it was just to cover bills. But by his junior year, it was turning a real profit. While Amanda and her friends partied on weekends, Marcus was networking with local business owners, attending seminars, and slowly building something bigger than anyone imagined. Chapter 5: Graduation Prep. By senior year, Marcus's business had grown enough that he was hiring other students as part-timers. Ironically, some of them were the same ones who had laughed at him freshman year. Amanda? She barely noticed Marcus anymore. She was too busy planning her glamorous graduation party and securing a job at her father's company. She had no idea the poor student she once ridiculed was quietly becoming a millionaire. Chapter 6: The Shocking Reveal. On graduation morning, Marcus received a call from his lawyer. The deal had gone through. His investment group had just purchased Oakwood University. The struggling school had been seeking investors for months, and Marcus had seen the perfect opportunity. When he arrived in that limousine, the same students who once mocked him now stared in awe. Amanda's jaw literally dropped. She had just been bragging to her friends about her new designer heels when the dean's voice boomed over the microphone. Today, we have the honor of introducing the new owner of Oakwood University and alumnus who rose from humble beginnings to become an inspiration. Please welcome Mr. Marcus Carter. The applause was deafening. Amanda froze in her seat. Chapter 7, Face to Face. After the ceremony, Amanda approached Marcus, forcing a smile. Marcus. I had no idea. Congratulations. He looked at her calmly. You didn't need to know. What mattered was that I knew what I was capable of. Amanda's cheeks burned. She wanted to apologize, but the lump in her throat wouldn't let her speak. Marcus shook her hand politely, but there was no malice, just quiet strength. Chapter 8, The Lesson. In his graduation speech, Marcus didn't call Amanda out by name. Instead, he said, "Some people will try to define you by what you lack. But your value is never measured by your clothes, your bank account, or your background. It's measured by your vision, your persistence, and your heart. And to anyone who's been underestimated, use it as fuel. Because success is the sweetest revenge, but kindness is the highest form of strength." The crowd erupted in applause. Even Amanda clapped, her eyes glassy with regret. Ending message. Marcus walked away from that stage knowing he had achieved more than wealth. He had proven to himself, and to everyone watching, that dignity and perseverance can outshine privilege and cruelty. And Amanda? She learned the hard way that arrogance fades, but the memory of how you treat people lasts forever. Call to action. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever been underestimated or bullied, and turned it into your greatest strength? I'd love to hear your story. And remember, this is Be Kind Always. Hit that like button, subscribe, and join me for more inspiring real-life stories that remind us, kindness is power.